Well, the French security analyst Olivier Guita joins me now in the studio. Thanks for coming in to Al Jazeera. How much more do you know about Mouadam and how big a player he might have been within ISIL?
Mouadam, nom de guerre is Abu Sulayman. During the attack at the Bataclan in Paris, one hostage allegedly said that two of the suicide bombers had talked about calling Abu Sulayman to keep him abreast of what was going on. He was not a small fry, for sure. He was probably either coordinating or part of the group that came up with the plan of attack. So that the Pentagon today is coming up and saying that he was planning more attacks, this is obvious. But it is a very good get for the coalition at this point.
Do we know much more about his background, how he ended up in Syria?
Yes. He is a member of nine sons and daughter of a family born in France. In 2012, he was arrested by French authorities because he had expressed interest of fighting jihad, most probably going to Yemen or Afghanistan, not in Syria at that point. Then he was under surveillance, but loosely, and he failed to check in, if you will, with the authorities, and he ended up in Syria in 2013. So he's been there, he's been part of the second generation of French fighters that have been going to Syria.
What do you know about the intelligence that was likely to have been imparted between the French and the US in order for this man to have been targeted? Because we're assuming that the intelligence agencies must have been involved heavily in this.
Look, a couple of things that are very meaningful for us to understand where we are at today is that it's one of the first times that the US or the coalition was able to strike at one of the Islamic State leaders. The coalition and the Americans were always at the beginning going blind and they didn't have intel on the ground. So it is fascinating and very reassuring to see that today they have one way or another people on the ground letting them know. It's not just satellite information, it's human information, so they must have informers on the ground. But also remember one thing is that it could have come also from Morocco, because it's from Moroccan background, and Morocco was the country that actually told the French before the raid in Saint-Denis that Abu Ad was in Paris at that point. So it could have been a mixture of different security services, but also people on the ground.
Really interesting about the behind-the-scenes intelligence information. Olivier Guita, thanks so much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you, my pleasure.